It's staff.
Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Caregiver Solution Info Show. I'm so glad you could join us this evening. I'm Marcia Teele, your host, and this show is for you if you are a family caregiver. That means that you are taking care of someone, usually an adult, who can't take care of themselves for either a physical or a cognitive reason. We do especially talk about dementia on this program and caregivers taking care of people with some form of dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's disease or a Parkinson-related dementia, a vascular dementia, frontal temporal lobe dementia. It doesn't matter what kind of dementia it is because it's all memory loss. And caregiving is not easy, to say the least. And most caregivers don't sometimes even realize that they are caregiving when they do a lot of things for someone who really can't do things for themselves. And if you are in that position, how did you learn how to do it? Most people have to learn on the job. It's an on-the-job training. There's no college to go to for being a caregiver, and most people are thrown into that role. So this program was developed just for you, that family caregiver, to learn and to be educated on topics that you could learn from experts who are in the fields of medical, legal, social work, lots and lots of people that are on your team, that can be on your team and should be on your team to help you go along that caregiving path. It's a journey, and we learn as we go. So I'm glad that you are here today with us, because today, as always, it's an educational program, and today we're going to be talking about the differences between different types of help that you can get at home. When you're stressed out, when you can't be there, when you need to go out of town, when you just can't stand one more day without some time for yourself, what do you do? And so most people start with someone coming into the home. But how do you know who to pick? How do you know who to call? How do you know what you need to have in the home? Do you need a nurse? Do you need a home health aide? Do you need maybe just somebody to come and kind of babysit, so to speak, be with your person to keep them safe? So these are the kind of questions that caregivers ask and need to know, so that if you find yourself in this situation, you'll know exactly where to turn, who to call, and what you need. And so today, helping me is an expert in the field. He has a company called Seniors Helping Seniors. He is the owner and operator of Seniors Helping Seniors, and he serves the Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, and Lake Worth residents here in South Florida. His name is John Imperatore, and he is joining us live here in the studio in Boca Raton. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here, because we are going to be educating people on all of those topics, and you are an expert in that because you own a company. And the first thing that I want to ask you is, what is the difference between your company and another type of company like a home health? So tell me what Seniors Helping Seniors is first.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Marcia. And I will say that Seniors Helping Seniors is a franchise around the country, and as you said, I am you know operating in a territory in South Florida. So I chose to focus on the companion care model that you mentioned, and not every state's the same. In Florida, they do distinguish between companion care and personal care. And personal care is probably what most people are familiar with. A home health aide will come in and help with bathing and some other activities of daily living, toileting, transferring, things like that, that a lot of seniors really struggle with. And that's the personal care side of the business. And what we do is we focus on the companion care side. And really, and there's some overlap between the two, but really what we focus on are a different type of services. I mean, we want to help people just do the things that most of us just take for granted, like shopping and getting groceries and preparing a meal and upkeeping the home and just a lot of things that really familiar tasks that some of us take for granted that become more difficult for some people as they age.
So you mentioned this is a company that's across the country, different franchises, right? But different states have different rules.
Yes.
But we're here in Florida, and so there is a big distinction between a companion service and a home health company services, right?
Yes, correct. Actually, it's in Florida, they call it homemaker and companion services is the term that the Agency for Healthcare Administration uses, and then personal care is the term that they use for home health services like you're mentioning.
Great. Okay. And you mentioned activities of daily living, and just in case someone doesn't really know what all that entails, you mentioned like taking a shower. What are some of the other types of activities of daily living that a aide, for instance, might help somebody with?
Absolutely, yeah, great question. And so, yeah, taking a bath or a shower when someone is not independent in that area, needs help to do it, to stay clean and so that's one of the activities of daily living. Another one would be, toileting, going to the bathroom. Again, something we all really take for granted, but for some seniors that becomes more difficult and they need help. They need somebody to help them do that. Transferring is another one. If you need to get out of bed into a wheelchair or just move around in your bed sometimes when you are bedridden, a home health aide, they get credentialed in those areas. They go through a program that teaches them how to do that correctly, and so they're critical in those areas.
So if a person doesn't need help with any of those activities of daily living, perhaps they're very independent, they can kind of do those kinds of things for themselves, but maybe they're just not safe to be at home. Maybe they're lonely, right? Maybe they just want some company. So is that where your company comes in? And tell me what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do as a companion service company.
Yeah, great point. The best terms to use to understand our services are non-medical services, and they are also hands-off. So if you can imagine, if your loved one needs help with, having their body being handled, that's not something that we can help them with.
Would that include dressing?
Dressing, yes. If someone's not able to, dress themselves and really needs head to toe somebody to help them dress, that's specifically for a home health aide or a certified nurse. We can, of course, if somebody just needs help putting their arm through a sweater and we're just, helping somebody, just make it a little easier. That's something
That's okay.
we have no problem doing. But yeah, these are important distinctions because there is training that's required to do those things the right way.
What about medications? Can a companion administer medications, or does that have to be through a nurse or a home health aide?
Right. So that's a very important distinction to make. So we are able to provide reminders and encouragement and support for medications. So, and those reminders can be very helpful, for a senior out there. It's just that, time goes by and they're maybe not focused, or, they may be struggling with memory loss, like you mentioned earlier, and they're going to miss their medication. So somebody, is right there to remind them and to sort of steer them in the right direction. But yeah, we have to be careful that we're not handling the medications and we're not administering the medications, because that's just an area for a nurse, frankly.
Okay, and that's just part of the rules and regulations of the different types of companies.
Exactly.
But I think it's real important for people to know that there are companies out there, like Seniors Helping Seniors, that's a companion service, because so many seniors don't need anything but reminders. Remind you to take your medicine, remind you to eat. Now, can a companion in the home, can they prepare food?
Oh, it's a great question, and absolutely, meal preparation is important, and it's definitely something we focus on. I will say also, meal planning can be really important as well. Just when you go to the grocery store, are we getting the right goods and the right, the right food to prepare a week of meals. And so that's an area where we put a lot of energy and focus in. And obviously, we want to keep people eating well and hydrated, and eating nutritious meals on a regular basis.
So it's really nice, because if someone's there with an older person, it's been shown that when they're in more of a social setting with another person at mealtime, they're more likely to eat a meal and complete a meal if they're with somebody else, because it feels like, having lunch with a friend. And so this is something that a companion can do, prepare lunch and sit down and have a bite to eat with the person and make them feel like they have a friend, right?
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Marcia. That's really important. I mean, we want to, we really encourage our companions to focus on doing things with our clients. So it may seem, when we're talking about meal preparation, that we're doing it for them. And in some cases, we certainly are. It's sometimes hard to, put a meal together for some of the people we care for. But if somebody wants to help us set the table, or maybe, take the vegetables out and put them on a plate, and work together to put a meal, and then sit down, and, our companions will grab a drink and sit and have a dining experience, which, is important. And you mentioned the word loneliness. I mean, that's really one of the targets that, it's an epidemic in its own. And there's certainly a lot of research that suggests it affects not just our well-being, but our actual health.
Yes.
And so that's an area that, that's right where we aim.
All right. Well, I have to ask this next question, because we have established that they can do a lot of things, and they can be there for socialization. They can be there sort of as a cook, or food preparer. What about housekeeping? Does a companion have an obligation or the ability to help a resident with cleaning their house?
Mm-hmm. Well, to some extent, yes, and to some extent, no. I mean, what we encourage our clients to, have a house cleaning service come in once every couple weeks, to do that deep cleaning that every home needs on a regular basis. But we will certainly do what we can do to maintain, keep a hygienic and disinfected, environment. So that, just to, again, you mentioned the word safety earlier, and we want to focus on areas of safety, including just staying hygienic and not being exposed to, infectious diseases.
Okay, so wash the dishes after lunch and things like that. Just
Right.
simple tasks,
Right,
that you
yep.
would normally do in the course of a day. But okay. All
Yes,
right, very
exactly
good.
that.
Now, what if a senior has a companion and they need to go somewhere? They need to go to the drugstore to pick up their medications, or they need to go to the doctor's office. can a companion help them with that?
Oh, absolutely. And again, if somebody, can't go that day to, for whatever reason, they're not just, their energy's not, they're just not feeling up to it, and they don't have the energy. We of course don't mind getting in the car and running errands and bringing home what the home needs. But yes, we will help with transportation and getting people, to and from Publix. Sometimes, down here in Florida, there's a Publix every 5 miles, it seems. And to us, it's not a big deal. We run over there for a couple minutes and get what we need. But for a senior, that's a big deal. For some seniors, I should say, excuse me. And so we will just help that happen. We'll pull into, the parking spot. We'll make sure they, navigate the parking lot effectively, so they feel comfortable, they don't feel rushed, they don't feel endangered, and that's all goes into the simple act of taking somebody out to a store.
Yeah, that is so important, because to get out to a store if you're homebound is so exciting to somebody, to be out in public, to have normal things to do, and to have someone to go with you so you don't forget where you parked your car, or you don't get lost in a store, because those things can happen, and it can be very frightening for an elderly person, especially maybe with mild cognitive impairment starting, things like that, where they're pretty okay. But I mean, look, I will be the first to admit I've lost my car before in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
I teach people little tricks, how to remember where they park. But older people, they just park and go, and then it's really difficult. But to have somebody there, like you said, gives them that sense of security and safety, and being there, and perhaps not even being taken advantage of sometimes, which an elderly person can be.
Yes, it's a different world for them. Just for the people who are just struggling in certain ways. It's we see it one way, but they see it a different way. And I think your points are well taken.
Yeah, wow. This is so interesting. So there's such a distinction between a companion service and a home health. And we're talking about companion services with seniors helping seniors. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more. So stay with us.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help, because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back. My special guest today is John Imperator, and he is the owner and operator of Seniors Helping Seniors. It is a franchise company here in South Florida serving Lake Worth, Delray, and Boynton Beach. John, I'm so happy that you're here. We're talking about the difference between a companion service and home health. What's the mission of Seniors Helping Seniors?
Yes, thanks. So our mission is to help seniors live independently, safely, and fully in the home of their choice. That's as simple as I can put it. We we do have a really feel-good founding story. Our owner, or original owner, Karan Yokum, she had worked with Mother Teresa for 14 years before starting Seniors Helping Seniors about 20 years ago. And she founded Seniors Helping Seniors on two basic ideas. One is that two seniors can help each other age gracefully. And the other idea is that those who give and those who receive both benefit. And so that is the mission, really, that drives what we do.
I love that. It's so great, so great. So the word, or the actual words in the name of your company, Seniors Helping Seniors, let's talk about the seniors that are doing the helping, right? Because normally people think of someone coming into home as an aide is, usually typically a younger person, but you're talking seniors. Are these retired people, and who are the seniors that you employ to help other seniors?
Yes, right. So the first seniors in our title are the active seniors that we recruit to help out aging seniors. And you're right. We can find somebody who is early retirement, and maybe they're looking for a little balance in their lifestyle. Work can be very therapeutic for active seniors, and so maybe finding a little bit of part-time work, it can be a good fit for them. We also find mature workers have a history of being dependable and using their life experience and wisdom to handle certain problems. I mean, it's for us, it's a critical part of what we do.
Well, what I really love about what you do with the company, the Seniors Helping Seniors, is the client, if you will, the one that needs the help, they have a friend. It's their peer. It's somebody who's close to their age, someone who's had those life experiences, who can identify with the lifestyles of the client, someone who can talk to them about history when they were younger together, in the same generation. And I love that, because that is what they're there for, to help them as a senior, but they have so much in common. And I think that is just amazing, because a lot of older people that need help, they don't want help, right? They'll say, no, I don't need any help. And that's because they don't want a young whippersnapper, coming into their home and telling them what to do and kind of bossing them around. That's what they think, okay? That's in their mind. And they say, no, I don't need a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone shows up at their door who looks like them, acts like them, and has the same type of background, all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, come in. We can sit down and we can have some coffee and we can talk together. And at the same time, the senior is still helping the senior. And I think that is just a marvelous, idea. And I think that so many people may not know that this type of service is available. So that leads me to ask you, John, how do you find the seniors, the retired or semi-retired people, and how are they qualified to do this type of work? How do you vet them, and how do you know that they can do this kind of work?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. How do we find them? There's a lot of different ways to do that. But since we are a very local business, we want to find local resources where we can, just talk to seniors in general and let them know that we're here, and that this is something that they can consider to be an option, a lifestyle option. People who might have a history of volunteering,
Okay.
they're always going out looking for a mission that they want to support, and they give their time into that mission, and they make a big difference. And we sort of function in a very similar way. We're there to really turn lives around. People who are older seniors are underserved, and we know now that active seniors are underutilized, and so they have a passion for helping others. They find us somehow, and we find them, and there's a variety of resources we use. I mean, we'll go to, local religious congregations and just try to get the word out, let them know that we're here, and the local communities in Florida, we just want to put a little notice in their newsletter or something like that. And again, just let them know that we are an option for them.
So some families might be concerned about a stranger coming into the home that, a retired, might not be a retired police officer, which they would think, oh, that would be great, right? It might be a retired person from some other type of business that, they don't understand or they don't know about. How do you make sure that these people that you're hiring are safe to go into someone's home? How are they vetted?
Yep, great question again. First of all, we realize it's a big deal to be invited into somebody's life, into somebody's home, and we want to take that seriously. So we go through a pretty rigorous process. We will start by first trying to get to know the person. Maybe we do get a lot of word of mouth, so we have somebody who invites a friend into our group, so that's super helpful. But there's a whole process involved. There's everybody has to go through a level 2 FBI background check. That's mandatory. We will try to get professional references, personal references.
Fingerprinted too?
Well, fingerprinting is part of the background check. That sort of gets the ball rolling, and then it goes to the FBI and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and then someone's background is investigated by those parties.
So just like a home health aide would be vetted that way with the background check, make sure there's no, felons or anything like that. You have to do the same thing for the companion services.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Good to know. So that in that respect, people are covered and they can feel comfortable, right, knowing who's coming into the home. But more important, I think, not more important, but just as important, I would wonder, how do you know that a certain senior is going to be a match to the client? Because what if their personalities clash? What if they show up and they just don't like each other? How do you kind of control that or make it happen so that it's a good fit?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yeah, I do. One of my main jobs is being a matchmaker.
You're the matchmaker.
That's yes, yeah. And I will say it's a little more of an art than a science. There's no exact way of knowing how that's going to turn out. But we do look at a couple of things. And as you mentioned earlier, does someone have some common interests? Does someone maybe come from, we're in Florida and people are coming from New York and other cities. Maybe somebody comes from a town nearby where the client originated. And so, there's a lot of different factors that will come in. And we do encourage family members and the client to meet the people we recommend at the end of the day. So we'll have a meeting beforehand, and it'll be a meet and greet, get to know. We open up the floor for any questions, and yeah, we think that's all these steps that we take to ensure the safety and try to encourage the satisfaction of the client are important steps, and we don't mind taking our time doing that.
Great. So hopefully it's a match made in heaven.
That's right. That's yeah.
Okay.
And it does happen. Believe it or not,
well,
it does happen.
I'm sure it does, and that's the goal. So we're going to take a break. We're going to give away a free book. During this time, you want to grab a pen and a paper and write down how you can get a free book when we come back from break. And we're going to actually be meeting one of Seniors Helping Seniors employee that works for John in the company and get her side of the story, how she relates to the senior. And so this is going to be great. You'll want to be sure to be back for that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Somewhere at the corner of bewildered and confused is a lost mother, a father, a sibling, a grandparent. Wandering is a common symptom of Alzheimer's or related dementias and can often make those who care for a loved one feel just as lost. If you're looking for a place that's safe and secure, look to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back to Caregiver Solutions Info Show. At this time, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Community. Arden Courts is a great resource, and this book is something that they would like for you to have just because you're tuned into the show. You're either watching us on your smartphone or your computer, listening to us on iHeartRadio or a local Southeast Florida radio station. This book is called The 36-Hour Day. It's written by Dr. Peter Rabins and Nancy Mace, and it's considered the go-to book for caregivers. It is great for referencing, to find out about challenges, tips, definitions, things that caregivers need to know, especially if you're helping somebody that has some form of dementia. This book is absolutely free, just for the asking. All you have to do is send an email to delray@arden-courts.com and tell them that you heard about the free offer on the Caregiver Solution Info Show, and send them your name, address, and telephone number, and they will get it, and they will mail a book straight to you. I highly recommend this book if you are a family member or an adult child, and maybe one of your parents is suffering with some form of dementia, and you'd like to know more about it. This, again, is a great book for adult children to read, for family members to read, and especially for family caregivers. So send an email to Delray, D-E-L-R-A-Y, at Arden, A-R-D-E-N, -courts, C-O-U-R-T-S.com. Send that email today, and you'll get the book, and you'll be glad that you did. So we are talking about the difference between a home health aide, having someone come in that might be a nurse or might be somebody that can help with bathing, dressing, feeding, giving medications, or, as the case may be in your particular case, somebody who comes in to help your loved one entertain them, keep them safe, take them to the store, remind them to take their medications, be a friend, right? And that's a companion. And we're here with the owner and operator of a franchise of seniors helping seniors. And John is here with us, and he is the franchisee, John Imperator. And with us today now, this half of the show, I'm so excited to introduce to you Bobby Cuneo. Bobby is an employee of John's with Seniors Helping Seniors, and she is one of those professional seniors helping other seniors. Welcome, Bobby, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Marcia.
You're very welcome. I'm so excited to have you. I want to ask you, first of all, why did you want to become a senior helping other seniors? What's your background? Were you in healthcare during your lifetime?
I was in healthcare for 31 years. I ran a GI practice in a hospital for a long time. When I retired, I was doing volunteer work for the state of New Jersey for nursing homes. They had me going to the nursing homes to interview the patients to make sure that there was no problem. And I worked for Jewish Family Service, driving seniors to doctor's appointments and so on and so forth. So when I came here 3.5 years ago, I was retiring completely, and for about 8 months, I played cards, I played mahjong, I went out to lunch, I went to the movies, and after the 8th month, I woke up one morning and said, what am I doing with my life? Somebody introduced me to John, and we spoke and we met, and went through the process with him, and I became a companion, and I just love it. It just gives me a whole new sense of life.
Wow, that's a great story. I know a lot of people say, when they retire, they can't wait, but you were in it 8 months and you're like, okay, I'm bored already, right?
Exactly, exactly.
And so you found a new purpose.
I did. I work with wonderful clients. Mostly I work with the Alzheimer's and dementia. And my first job, my first assignment was probably the most difficult thing I ever did in my life. I walked into a 63-year-old patient with frontal lobe dementia, and she could not put words together. I would come in the morning, and she would say, the fire engine's in the sink. And after a while, I got to be able to communicate with her, and it worked out very well. I was with her for almost a year.
Was that your first experience with someone on a one-to-one basis with frontal temporal lobe
Yes.
dementia? So you know that they have trouble expressing themselves, and sometimes they don't talk at all.
Right.
Other times they don't have the words to say. So when you walked in and she said, the fire engine's in the sink, what was your first thought?
I thought, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But after a while, we became best friends. I was able to communicate with her on her level, and I was able to understand what she was trying to convey to me. I developed a program with her. We played music all the time. Her husband told me she loved opera. And we did painting and puzzles, and she became so involved that she couldn't wait every time I came in to do it.
You were her new best friend.
So one day we were listening to opera, and her husband was in the other room, and she started to sing in Italian, words in Italian.
The right words.
The right words, I suppose. And I called her husband in, and the two of us just stood there with our mouth hanging open. She loved music so much. It was just what kept her going.
Wow.
So we had a good run for almost a year, and then I went to the next patient with other areas of dementia. And
Why did it only last a year?
her husband couldn't keep up with the responsibility of the home and her. She was progressing, and it was difficult. So they went into an assisted living, and she was in memory care. And I cried when she went in because I just loved her. She was my friend.
So you were her friend and she was your friend. So how does it feel to be doing this job? What does it do for you? I know what you do for the seniors, but what does it do for you?
It makes my heart sing.
Aww, I love
When
that.
I see these people responding to what I do with them, it just makes me so happy. I just feel like I've done something to change the world.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Make the world a better place.
Yes, for sure.
And
For
did you
sure.
ever think that this would be something that you'd be doing?
I've worked my whole life. I had very responsible positions, and I worked to pay the mortgage and to get my kids through college. What I'm doing now makes me feel like I'm giving back to the world,
Wow.
and that makes such a difference. Such a difference.
So after this one particular lady, your first one, you learned, so you didn't, throw in the towel,
Nope.
right?
Nope.
You found that there was satisfaction and
Yeah,
there
I was
rewards.
in for the long haul.
The long haul, right? And so can you tell a story of another client perhaps that you've been working with that
Okay.
you helped?
This second one was a very feisty lady. She was the 90-year-old, and she just wanted to go out all the time. So we used to go out to lunch a lot, and she didn't want any parts of music or anything like that. So one day she was kind of melancholy, and she just wanted to stay in. And I turned my CD player on, made some music, and she loved it. She was listening to Barry Manilow, and she started singing the words. And I painted, took some paints out with her, and she enjoyed painting. So I feel that when you get them involved, it brings them to a level where they can just do what makes them happy, and it's an escape as well.
So trying to find something that they enjoy and
Exactly.
providing that for
Exactly.
them.
And music is the main thing. You turn that music on, and if it's opera or Barry Manilow or whatever, they go back to the days when they listened to this music, and it brings them to a happy place.
I bet you've become a little bit of a dancer too, right? Dancing with
Oh
them?
yeah, we do a little.
I bet I would. I would definitely be, doing the boogie woogie there,
Yes.
with them. That's awesome. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more about seniors helping seniors. We'll be right back.
Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too. It takes a lot of patience and courage. It also takes knowing when you can no longer do it alone. At Arden Courts, memory care is all we do. Talk to us. We know. We understand. We can help. Don't let guilt keep you from making the right decision. Visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
I'm here with my special guest, Bobby Cuneo from Seniors Helping Seniors, and she works for John Imperator, and he is the owner and operator of the South Florida Seniors Helping Seniors, serving Lake Worth, Delray, and Boynton Beach. And it's a franchise throughout the country. We're lucky to have you here in this part of Florida. Thank you all for being here. Bobby, you were telling us about your experience, that you retired. Now you're a senior helping other seniors for John's company. What things have you discovered during this time that you've been helping seniors? Anything that you want to share that you feel that you've discovered that you didn't know before?
I find a lot of similarities between the different patients. Most of them are craving sugary candy, cake, just a very sugary diet. I find that all of them have not had a diet of fruit and vegetables their whole entire life, that they've eaten this way forever. I just feel that there's something to say about that.
Well, they do say that as we age, that we do lose a lot of our taste buds for certain types of food, because parts of our tongue are for salty and sweet and sour, right? And they say that because people mostly seem to keep that taste bud for the sugar, for the sweet, as they age. That's why a lot of seniors, elderly people, do like the candies and the pies and the cakes, and that's what they go for.
Yeah.
And so because you're there helping, you can try into maybe something a little healthier.
Yeah.
But there definitely is reasons for that. But you're absolutely right. You just hit on something that a lot of people don't know. Why does my grandma just crave candy all the time, and why does my mom only want to eat ice cream for dinner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are obvious things that people can observe, but there is reasons for that. What else have you noticed?
You develop a very loving relationship with these people. We had a patient that had to be hospitalized last week. I was sitting with her having lunch, and her head dropped, and her hand and her arm got numb. So I threw her right in the car and took her right to the hospital, and she had a mini stroke. But I love her, and she depends on me and our our other helpers as well for their existence. You know, there's a lot of love there when they get to trust you. They love you, and you can't help it. You get to love them as well.
Now you took her to the hospital. Did you stay with her
I stayed with her until midnight.
till midnight?
Yep. She was in the ER, and there was no room available, and she asked me not to leave her. She was afraid. So I stayed with her. It was close to midnight. I think I put her in bed, and then I went home, and during the night they put her in a room. And I went back the next day, even though I was not on duty.
Aw.
I went back just to visit with
Now
her.
you owe her some overtime.
That's
John.
right. Yeah.
Nudge,
Talk about
nudge.
that afterwards, Marcia.
Nudge, nudge.
But you know that just proves her point. She cares so much about the person she's caring for that she even goes on her time off to make sure she's okay. And that
It becomes family.
It's from your heart, you know, and you're a special person, you know, to give and to love and to give that service and to care, and we all need more of that, right? And I just think it's beautiful, and that's a beautiful story,
Yeah.
and they're lucky to have you.
I'm
right?
lucky to have them as well.
Yeah. So John, how do you prepare some of your new seniors who want to help other seniors? How do you prepare them for what they might find? Like when Bobby said that she walked in and she was like, what did I get myself into? How do you prepare them? Because I know that back in 2017, I believe it was, you received your master's degree in counseling and therapy from the University of Miami, and that you actually moonlight on the side when time allows, when
That's
you're
right.
not super busy with doing everything that you do, but you moonlight as a mental health therapist as well. So how do you prepare, and can you use your education as a mental health therapist to help prepare these seniors for their job?
Yeah, we you know, that does happen over time, but we do put together some training materials, you know, for what we call our orientation. And you know, I encourage people to just take their time to move through it, because there's a lot of information, you know, to consider. I mean, yeah, we have to remember to wash fruit, and we have to remember to, you know, learn to calm people down when they're feeling, you know, like out of sorts.
So you give them tips and things like how to help people remain calm, and the do's and the don'ts, and that definitely is a good thing to know, especially when you're dealing with an elderly person who might have some kind of cognitive issues, and they can get scared, or they can be suspicious, or they can be fearful. And so those are very good techniques for you to share with your seniors, because obviously, you know, they're the ones going to the battlefield, so to speak, right?
Absolutely, and you know, a lot of the things we do are related to self-care. You know, so you know, I remind the people who are coming on our team. You know, you have a lot of these tools already. You know, you're already using a lot of these tools that you're going to need during your work. You're already employing that on a day-to-day basis, and that's something I think helps people calm down a little bit about, you know, going in for the first day and how am I going to help this person. And we do, once we do sort of find the case, and I do my matchmaker thing, you know, we do try to get together and maybe even incorporate a family member and try to talk about what the care plan should look like. You know, what are we going to be doing on a daily basis? And then, you know, and then I try to, you know, gather materials and have a conversation about, you know, what are some best practices in each of these areas. And in the beginning, we go back and forth a lot too, because it's new to all of us. It's a new person. You know, you know, what they say with, you know, dementia and memory loss, if you met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia, and the next person's going to be very different.
Right.
And so we want to be very, you know, very attuned to that, you know, we can't just take what we learned in our last case and just apply that, because it may not really be relevant to the next person we're caring for.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think that you really hit on something there when you said that your professional retired seniors that are helping you, that they do already have a lot of what it takes to do the job because they've learned through their life experiences, through their maybe corporate world that they were in, how to relate to people, how to do the right thing, how to, get along with people. And, they might be fearful, but if they really think about it, like you said, they already have a lot of that in them. A lot of it might be even just common sense that as you're relating, and as long as you're a people person, right? And that's what your job is as the matchmaker, to make sure that, they're a people person and that they're going to, get along with the client. How does the extended family fit into this? Do you have, I know that Bobby helped a lady that she was married, and her husband, and helped a lady because he needed a break probably, and
Exactly.
he couldn't be the 24/7 person
Right.
there, and you can't do it all, right? It takes a village.
He was exasperated.
He was
He
exasperated.
was so happy when we came in to help. It really gave him, break from.
He was able to either relax or
Yep.
maybe go outside, go do an errand, take a nap, because he knew that you were there.
Right.
And he trusted you, and you were there for his wife. But what about someone who lives on their own and maybe their family's up north? How do you communicate with the family about what's going on with the client?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we do have some new tools that a lot of us have been using in the last couple of years, using Zoom and things like that, having a meeting. The family members, they're in a tough position. They are feeling helpless, and they want to help, but especially during, this COVID epidemic, it's been virtually impossible for them to, come and be the support that their parents need. So they're really relying on us, not just to, provide the services and provide the help, but to also communicate back, and so let them feel a peace of mind maybe, or, just a sense of comfort that there is somebody who are, keeping their eyes and ears open to any changes that can happen. Because, we can, on Monday, somebody can be doing well. And as Bobby mentioned, we had, a client who suddenly, was acting very different. And that's a red flag. And we want to have an action plan when that happens. And so we try to communicate in all types of ways. All the modern tools are there, and sometimes it's just a sentence or two back and forth is enough, to get something out there.
Okay, so you're giving them updates, and they know that you're staying on top of things. So it does give them peace of mind knowing that you're there with their loved one, even though they might be in New Jersey. They're feeling comfortable that you're there.
Zoom and FaceTime is the best.
And we do a lot of that the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, John, this has been great. Bobby, thank you so much for what you
Pleasure.
do and being here and sharing your stories and sharing your expertise. If someone is listening and they think, gee, that's something that maybe I could use for my loved one, how can they contact you?
Yes, Marcia. So, again, we are focusing on senior residents in Delray Beach and Boynton Beach and Lake Worth. And if somebody has a loved one outside of that, I can help them find a Seniors Helping Seniors franchise. And our website is shsdelrayboynton.com, and you can, and I have a phone number that you could Google Seniors Helping Seniors in Delray and Boynton Beach, or call me personally at 561-572-9737. And, we're here to answer questions. There's no bad questions in this business. So just, give us a call, and if we can help, we'll let you know.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. If you need a senior to help your senior, call Seniors Helping Seniors. Call John, 561-572-9737, and he'll help you out. I want to thank you, and thank you, the audience, for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure having both of you here. Thank you for tuning in and watching Caregiver Solutions Info Show today. We'll be back next Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. with another program. And don't forget to send an email to get your free 36-hour day book, delray@arden-courts.com. And we will see you next week. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and have a good evening, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more